"Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step back." The young military policeman's voice was firm, though a little uneasy. The frail old man standing at the gate shifted awkwardly, his wrinkled hands gripping the chain-link fence as if it were the only thing keeping him upright. He wore no uniform, only a faded red sweater and worn-out jeans. Snowy white hair clung thinly to his head, and his tired eyes looked past the guards toward the base beyond. Before we move further into this story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear. Let's dive in. "Son, I'm not here to cause trouble," he said softly, his voice cracked with age. "I served here once. I just wanted to see it again." The MP shook his head, adjusting the rifle across his chest. "Without ID or clearance, you're not getting past this gate. You said you were a veteran, but there's no record we can see right now. I'm sorry." The old man's face fell. His service had been 72 years ago. He had stormed beaches, carried brothers off battlefields, and buried friends beneath foreign skies. His military ID was long gone, replaced by decades of civilian life. All he carried now was memory, and the invisible weight of sacrifice etched deep into his bones. Behind the MPs, other soldiers began to gather, whispering and chuckling among themselves. To them, he was just another old man telling tall tales, claiming to be a hero when he looked too fragile to even lift a rifle. The veteran lowered his head, shame creeping across his weathered face. "Maybe I shouldn't have come," he murmured. But then a voice boomed across the tarmac. "What's the hold-up here?" Every soldier straightened instantly. A decorated general, medals gleaming across his chest, strode toward the gate. His sharp eyes scanned the scene until they landed on the old man in the red sweater. For a long moment, silence hung heavy. The general froze mid-step, his jaw tightening. His gaze lingered on the man's face as though he were staring at a ghost from another time. And then the general did something no one expected. He snapped to attention, his hand rose sharply to his brow in a crisp salute, the kind reserved for legends, not civilians. Gasps echoed from the soldiers around him. The old man blinked in shock. "General, you know me?" The general's voice wavered, thick with emotion. "Know you? Sergeant William Hayes. You saved my father's life in Normandy. He told me about you 1,000 times. I swore if I ever met you, I'd be the first to salute." The MP's jaws dropped. The whispers stopped cold. All eyes darted between the frail veteran and the general who stood before him, with respect shining in his eyes. The veteran's lips trembled. He had been turned away at the gate, doubted, dismissed. Yet here was a man of the highest rank, saluting him as though he were still in uniform. The general lowered his hand and stepped forward, clasping the veteran's fragile shoulders. "Forgive them, Sergeant. They didn't know who stood before them. But I do. You are the reason men like me even exist." Tears welled in the veteran's eyes. His hands shook as he returned the salute, slow and weak but steady. The general helped him through the gate, the MPs standing at rigid attention now, their faces pale with shame. The crowd of soldiers that had once doubted now broke into applause, some saluting, others wiping their eyes. The old man who had been turned away at the gate now walked onto the base with honor, flanked by the respect he had earned long ago. The general's voice carried as he led the way. "This man paved the road we march on today. Remember his face, remember his sacrifice, because one day it will be yours too." The MPs bowed their heads, the weight of their mistake heavy on their shoulders. But the veteran did not scold them. He simply smiled faintly, the burden of being forgotten lifting if only for a moment. For the first time in decades, he felt seen, not as an old man in a red sweater, but as the soldier he had once been. And the moral was clear. Never judge a veteran by the years on his face, because behind every wrinkle may be a story of courage that changed history. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know how you feel in the comments.